We're here with Coach King, Liberty ILO. Tough first week. Ball didn't roll your way a couple times, but tell me what you took away from it.
Yeah, we got to get better as a football team. We've got to continue to do what it takes on a daily basis to become a good football team, and we can't make the mistakes that we did last week.
So you had some bright spots in the game. Damian Henderson had a huge game. I'm sure you're proud of his performance. Anything that your offense did, you feel like you're going to build on going forward?
Most definitely. Damian Henderson, he's a great kid. He's an extremely hard worker. He's just one of those kids, you love his work ethic every single day. He comes out and is kind of a business-only type attitude, and he comes to work every single day. And so that's something that, you just love to work with kids that are like that there's no fluff to them. They just get down and go to work, and it showed in the game the other night. He played extremely well for us, and offensively, our run game as a whole, was a bright spot for us.
So I saw, or I guess I heard, so they had 3 offensive drives start inside your 10-yard line. So, you kind of take those away. It's kind of hard to hold a team right there that close to the goal line. Your defense really only gave up 17 points outside of, mistakes that put them in a great position. I know you're a defensive coach, so that had to, even though the scoreboard may not have reflected it, you played a good defensive game.
Yeah, we played very well defensively at times, and then there were other times where we didn't play as well, and we didn't execute and do our job the way that we need to at the level that we need to in order to be a good or great football team. And so that's something that we've got to focus on, continuing to get better every single day.
So you guys did have some adversity in that game, but you also had some players that made some plays. Like we said, Damian Henderson, I think he was over 100 yards. You had Corbin White over 100 yards. You guys scored a total of 27 points. How do you feel you're going to move forward to build on that right there?
Yeah, we did have some bright spots. Like you said, Damian Henderson was over 100 yards. And had he had one, where we made a mistake on a holding penalty, he would have been close to 200. And so, and that would have set us up to be in good position. But again, you just can't make those kind of mistakes and be a good football team. And so at the end of the day, we've got to execute on both sides of the ball. And we've got to take away what we did well, and be able to target those kids that give us a chance to be successful and put them in positions to be successful, both Damian and Corbin and multiple people on offense.
So moving forward, as far as coaching, is that something you just tell the kids those are mistakes that you can't make? You have to make plays in order for us to get better each week?
Yeah, you got to focus, and, we're in position to make plays, and we have big plays. And if you just don't make those mistakes, it's a completely different story. And so that's something that we've got to focus on and focus to get better and make sure that everybody's doing their job and doing it at a high level.
So you have arguably, I'm going to argue for you, the toughest schedule in the state of Texas. You have Carthage this week. How do you game plan for a team like this?
Yeah, they're an extremely good football team. They're extremely sound fundamentally, extremely big on both sides of the ball, athletic. They've got 9 returning starters on defense coming back from a semifinal team, and it's something that they, Coach Surratt does a great job with his program down there, and he's been there for 13 years, and you can see it. From the bottom to the top. They don't beat themselves. They're extremely sound fundamentally and doing what it takes to be a good football team. And so, we've got to make sure that everybody is doing their job, and we can't beat ourselves and make those mistakes.
Well, with this tough schedule you have, it seems like, man, it's going to be a breath of fresh air to get to district. And even though you do have, I believe, the number 1 ranked team in the state in your district, it's going to be nice to play some of these other football teams. And I think that, your schedule, your players, if you can come out without a bunch of injuries, man, they're going to have some experience against some big-time football teams.
Yeah, we're extremely young football team with a lot of young football players right now that have a chance to get a lot of experience here early in the year against some really good football teams, 1, 2, and 3 in 4A Division I right now, are all 3 on our non-district schedule. And so, it's something that we have a chance to really play some high-level football teams to get us that good experience and get us where we need to be. We've just got to focus on us and getting better from week to week. And we can't control what anybody else does, but we can definitely control us and control our effort and our attitude on a daily basis, and whether or not we're doing what it takes to become a good football team.
Right. Well, Coach, we wish you the best of luck this week, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you so much for having me.
It is week 2 of high school football season. I have Dr. Young here with me with Texarkana Emergency Center, and we want to talk to you a little bit about some common injuries that are going on right now. It's warm outside. How do we protect these kids from a heat stroke?
So that's right. They're going to be on that field with the turf, and it's going to be 10 to 15 degrees warmer than the actual atmosphere. So we just want them to make sure that they're plenty hydrated, drinking plenty of fluids before, during, and after the game, and make sure that they also maybe eat a little snack before they get going so they can have some energy and some glucose, sugar in their system. And then as well as the coaches and then also the crowd. We want them to be sure to hydrate because they're going to be sitting in the stands for several hours, as well as our band members, to make sure that they're hydrating because they're out there on the field in the middle with all that gear on as well, and usually carrying heavy instruments.
So some of the common injuries we saw last week, leg, knee, head injuries. What are some things these parents and coaches should be looking for?
Yeah, so for the head injuries, we just need to be aware of them. We need to make sure when somebody does take a lick and they're not acting right, it doesn't require you being knocked out or knocked unconscious anymore. What we look for more is amnesia, not being able to remember up to the time of the injury, and or the headache, kind of confusion, maybe even nausea, vomiting. Then it's time to go get checked out. You need to go get a CAT scan first to make sure there's not any structural damage, such as a bleed or an injury to the brain. But then they need to rest their brain. And when we say that, no contact. Knees are a very common injury in football just because of us running and cutting, landing, and then also many times getting tackled at the knee. So very common to, unfortunately, tear your anterior cruciate ligament or posterior cruciate ligament, and then also with the medial menisci and lateral menisci. And then, of course, shoulder injuries, not uncommon to have shoulder dislocations or injury when you're hit and your shoulder buries into the turf.
Oh, yeah. If you're experiencing any emergency, stop by Texarkana Emergency Center located on Calhoun Creek, open 24/7, 365. Dr. Young, we really appreciate your sponsorship at Texarkana Game Day.
Well, thank you, and we're happy to be here for our community.